Welcome to the Elder Wand, a Harry Potter podcast. I'm Matt.
And I am Ezra, aka Professor Kirk. Welcome to our Harry Potter book club. Today, we are covering The Sorcerer's Stone, Part 3, Chapters 7 through 9. Friends, I hope you have a chance to check out the YouTube version of this podcast. All you got to do is type in The Elder Wand, all right, on YouTube. Go check it out. I dressed up for this episode.
Yes.
I'm looking good. All right.
I have a little bit, and we'll get to it when we get to the sorting hat. I don't want to. I mean, I've already told everyone what I'm going to be.
That's
but
true.
I do have an official.
predetermined.
I have an official house tie here.
Yeah, you do.
You know, for those of you watching, and we're going to start doing these live actually, and these will be going live. Ooh, I think we got them the same time.
Yeah, we got these at the same. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, let's go. So same time, same place. But Ez and I are going to be going live, friends, on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube when we start recording these. So be sure to check us out over there, and you can comment and be part of the show as we record these. We never know exactly when we're going to do it because we record so much stuff, but
yeah,
on YouTube, if you got that bell notification, boom, it'll pop right there and tell you, hey, they are live. So you can certainly check that out. But as we are here and we're doing chapters 7 through 9, we finally have made it to Hogwarts. We're going to get sorted. We're going to meet the potions master, and there's going to be a midnight duel. And I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Can I count on you as my second?
Absolutely. I was going to ask you the same thing. I got your back, Matt. If you fall in battle in this duel, I will finish what you started. Okay.
It is great. Yes. Let me say that Ron in book 1 is one of my favorites. It might be my favorite iteration of Ron, just because he's telling Harry everything he needs to know, and he's like, I'm your second.
Yeah.
So if you go down,
right,
I got you. Right.
I got
and
you
then
back,
later,
bro.
and then later when they're playing chess, not me, you.
Yeah.
All right.
You.
And it's just it's so great.
Yeah, it is great. I mean, Ron, I've always felt like from this first book, you fall in love with that character. He's sort of our inside to the wizarding world. It's such a great character to glimpse some of that. We get bits and pieces from Neville and some of the other characters, right? But really, it's Ron who tells us about the kind of, I don't know, it's things that are normal to him that are different for other folks. Like that for Hermione, for example, even though she's very well read and kind of scolds them for not reading, he knows things that they don't. It's great in the end, like the last book when they get to it, or when we get to when we're talking about Hollows versus Horcruxes and stuff, and Ron's got some information and knows some of the tales, and it's just cool. It's really cool. He's hilarious. He's always been one of my favorite characters. So
absolutely. So as I don't know that there's really any Harry Potter news or anything that we have.
No, the only thing that's coming up is just that I don't know if you saw the trailer that kind of came out for the new for the return to Hogwarts. So they're doing that kind of documentary. HBO Max is doing this thing. It was actually pretty cool. So it was like they got their letter. So you had like, let me think here, who was all in there? You had Luna, Neville, Mr. Weasley, and they were kind of played up in their role. Like they looked like they were the adult version of their character. And Luna is like pulling her paper down, it looks like, to kind of like her letter is coming. Neville gets his, and so on. And it's the actors, right? They're getting their letter to come back to Hogwarts. So it's just a quick little teaser. And I think it's cool. I love that we're going to go back, and I don't know what we're going to see. This is, I think, in January when this is coming out. But yeah. Oh, by the way, Ez has been competing for his house over in the wizarding world. You can go there. It's sort of like the championship right now, the holiday championship. It's a 3-week thing. This will probably be posted during week 3 of that. So I think you guys will still have one more week to go in there and compete for your house. If you haven't, you log back into your account. Go check it out. I contributed 8 points and 9 points respectively.
Wow.
For Hufflepuff.
I need to get in there and help. I didn't Slytherin win.
They were in the lead. Did they? Is it no?
Well, the first week, I believe so.
The first week. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
I think you're right. I think they're in the lead. Which is, yes, it's play round 2 of the quiz championship. Today, you can take part in the second round. So as we're recording this today, you can compete in the online inter-house quiz competition. Join your Hogwarts housemates in the race for victory by answering 15 questions about creatures and characters. Good luck. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Actually, Matt, there's some of these questions on here. Let me see. So, oh yeah, for week 1, I had 8 points. Sorry, I think I was between 8 or 9. 8 points. I was trying to give myself that extra point. That's not true, folks. I got to be honest. You find out in this batch of chapters, that Hufflepuffs are loyal. We try to be truthful. We're just. I only got 8 points. Right now, we're in last place. Yeah, I think we're in last place. Right now, in the lead is Ravenclaw, followed by Slytherin, Gryffindor, and Hufflepuff. So that's where it stands as of this recording. Christmas edition quiz championship.
Well, I'm gonna have to get in there, and I'm gonna have to represent for Slytherin.
Yeah, you are. You definitely should. It's really cool. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I mean, right now, let me go back here. I could live while we're on here take this quiz. I mean,
Let's do it.
You want me to? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I let me share the old screen here. This is where we get into some situations here. Let's see. Here we go. Share this. Can you see it? Can you see it, man? There we go.
Yes, I can. Absolutely.
Okay. So play round 2 of the quiz championship. This is going to be a bit. What if I mess up, man?
Dude, you got it. I believe. If you mess up, I'm here. Don't worry.
Wow.
Because I'm your second.
You got my back. Okay, I'm nervous. I'm over here sweating. I went and put my professor's jacket on and freaking got my tie. Hey, let's just say this. Hey, I'm a history professor. Okay, I'm going for history of magic. I'm not necessarily a creatures in professor. Right. All right, here we go. So let's start this bad boy. What is Harry's full name? His full name, Matt. Harry James
Potter.
Let's go. Are we kind of cheating on this? Is there a Slytherin helping me? Maybe. Which magical creature has a
penchant for shiny things?
Shiny things. That's okay. That's gonna be your Niffler, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be your Niffler. Let's go. These get harder as you go, Matt.
Should I be helping you? Because by doing so, I'm giving points to.
It's fine. It's fine. So okay, which Quidditch team does Ron support? I think it's the Chudley Cannons. It's not the Holyhead Harpies.
I don't know, man.
I think it's the Chudley Cannons. Pretty sure. Let's freaking go, dude. All right, here we go. 3 out of 3 so far. Dude, this takes a big uptick, though. Watch these questions. Which creatures did Professor Lockhart let loose in his classroom? I believe it was
Did Lockhart?
Yeah, Professor Lockhart. What did he let loose in his classroom? I think it was these Cornish pixies.
Okay. Yes.
Right? I think it was. There we go.
Crushing it.
Got that right. Which Hogwarts house is Luna in? Ravenclaw, man. Here we go.
I know. She's like such a Ravenclaw.
I love her. She's
awesome. She hangs out a lot with the Hufflepuffs, or not the Hufflepuffs, with the Gryffindors. So it could be a little confusing, to say the least. I think some people would see Luna because they just think of the movies and the books, and you see her so often, they're like, oh, she's a Gryffindor. Nah, it's a trick question.
Right. Exactly. That's good. Good point. Yeah, because she wears she's rooting for them in Quidditch.
Right. Well, she's just her friend.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, what type of creature is Hermione's pet Crookshanks?
An owl.
Close.
I'm just messing. Yeah.
Yeah, half cat, half Kneasel, right? Crookshanks. There we go. I'm sweating still. I'm only at 7 out of 15.
You're literally representing your house. Now, where do all these? Now, this ties into the HBO show.
Yeah, so this is again their HBO Max. Like they're kind of doing some of this stuff just to, I think, get people active again, something fun that's interactive, bringing fans in. There's also the the competition. It's airing on Cartoon Network, I think.
Okay.
And what is it? It's the game show. It's the Harry Potter kind
Mhm.
of game show, which is cool. Okay, so we got Albus Dumbledore's full name, Albus Percival Wulfric
Yeah,
Brian Dumbledore.
it's pretty long.
Bam. Okay. What is the name of Newt Scamander's Bowtruckle?
Wow, I have no idea because I am not a Fantastic Beasts person yet,
Yeah.
but I will be.
Hey, and you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna have you watch
Watch
those, and
right.
we're gonna do like a live kind of like get Matt's. It's kind of a cool thing. We do this over on our other podcast for Wheel of Time, Heroes of the Horn, where we get Matt's like real raw reaction to something he has just watched that has maybe even been out for a little bit. But I mean, some people are kind of iffy on Fantastic Beast. I personally love it, and I'm actually excited to see you watch the first one because I think you'll like it as well. So
I'm down.
yeah, we'll do something for that. So it's Pickett, I believe it's Pickett. Boom, baby. 8 out of 8 so far. Let's go here. Vernon Dursley was the director of a firm called Grunnings. What did they make? I believe it was drills, right?
Yes, he is.
Drills,
Yep, yep.
right?
Yes, he does. He does he makes
Go.
drills.
Okay, what subject did Charity Barbage teach at Hogwarts? I believe it was Muggle Studies, right? She was this
Well, I know that she's not.
because she was
I
the
know.
one who Voldemort has, right? She's asking Snape. And
Right.
again, I gotta watch some of the movieisms here and make sure. Let's see here.
Let's roll with it.
Muggle studies. Boom. 10 out of 10. Let's go. Okay. How does one breed a basilisk? Seriously? See, you see what I'm saying, Matt? They go from like 10 easy ones and they get you
They
kind of
go.
thinking, okay,
These go pretty hard, man. I mean,
right?
this is why you got to be the best of the best to be on the show.
Right. So this, I have no idea. So our options are hatch a chicken egg under a toad, make a python drink its own blood, bred from 2 different species of snakes, feed any reptile the tears of a phoenix. What? Man,
Wow.
it's this is tough, right?
It comes
I
from an egg, doesn't it?
hatch a chicken egg under a toad,
No.
make a python drink its own blood. Maybe it's bred from 2 different species of snakes. Feed any reptile? No, it's not any reptile tears. It's not. It might be the hatch a chicken egg under a toad, but I don't know, man.
Let's go with it. Let's go with chicken egg under a toad.
Yeah, because I like the idea. I have no idea.
Let's roll with it. Let's
Oh my
go.
god. Oh my god, dude. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes
that's probably in the Fantastic Beasts and How to Find Them book.
it probably is, and maybe I'm just maybe in my subconscious, it's just I don't know. Yeah, maybe I was just messing with you guys, and I really did know that one. No, I had no idea. Okay, who is Tom Riddle's mother? So
A muggle.
right, it was not. So you just look at last names here.
No.
So we've got Black, Riddle, Slytherin. No, it's Gaunt, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Actually, I don't think his mother is the muggle. Is she? No, she is.
no. She's the witch.
Right.
And then yeah, she marries a muggle. Yep. Well, seduces him, the whole thing, love potion stuff. All right, good. Holy smokes. What is this word, Matt?
Pojbrin
Ogre,
is a
ogre.
demon from which country?
What the French toast? Dude, come on. Is anybody like on here live on Twitter who can like help me? Is there a phone a friend in this thing? I'm guessing
I'm gonna say
it's
Finland.
I'm gonna say China. I'm gonna
Okay,
say
here we go.
China or Russia. I'm gonna say China.
You've already taken this quiz.
God dang
Russia.
it, it's Russia. What the heck?
Wow, we should have known.
I'm failing my team right now. Okay, and
I have no idea.
I know Chris Child is not something I've only read the Wikipedia or the Wikipedia page. I've only read the HP wiki on this.
The Weaselpedia. Weasleypedia.
Yeah. What creature did Delphi have tattooed on the back of her neck? A serpent, a phoenix, a hippogriff.
A serpent, I'm guessing.
Cursed child sounds like it'd be a serpent, right?
Don't know. Haven't read it. Serpent. I'm rolling with it.
Serpent. I'm rolling with it too.
Slytherin
Wow. What's this one?
and Augury.
An augury? What the fudge? Okay, here we go.
Get Fudge out of here. I don't like
Get him out. Get him out. As a part of their third year Defense Against the Dark Arts exam, which creature did Harry's class have to navigate when crossing a series of potholes? Holy smokes.
During their third year is when Lupin is professor.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, he teaches them how to make a Patronus charge. Well, he helps Harry make a Patronus charm, I should say. And then remember, he's having them face their fears. They face a boggart.
Mm-hmm. Man, here's the thing. I know the Grindylow is in his room, but I'm either between red caps, maybe, or Kappas. Dude, I have no idea.
It's been some time since we read. That's why this is a reread.
Dude, this is bad.
Let's just go with go with the top one. We know it's there. Grindylows.
I have a sneaky suspicion it's this one though.
I have a suspicion that it's Kappas if it's not Grindylows.
Okay, here we go. Let's go, man.
Red caps, you got it,
dude. I had a feeling, Matt.
All right. So what do you? So now what? So now you've 86%.
Boom.
So who's winning right now?
So you can see right here. It looks like
right now Ravenclaw is winning.
Right. Ravenclaw, and then it keeps updating here. But you saw my points go in. You saw that I contributed. I'm doing everything I can. You know, also why I was okay with like taking this quiz in front of everyone is because I'm just a Hufflepuff. Not much is expected of us sometimes. So I feel like I did pretty good. Right? I feel like you
did good.
I passed it. I mean, it's a passing score. So
what counts as an A in Hogwarts?
Yeah, or
what's their grading curve?
Yeah, an outstanding or yeah. Right. Hey, look, coming up. So 12-10.
So they add new quizzes as time goes on.
Right. So yeah, I think it's a 3-week thing. Pretty sure. Yeah, 3 different themed rounds, 3 different quizzes, with the questions getting more difficult as we go. Learn how to play our quiz champions thanks to these handy guides right here. Really cool. I just think it's fun. I love when you can kind of interact and then the whole community is, kind of competing, and then we're talking about it, tweeting about it, all that good stuff. It's just, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. So,
okay. Well, shall we dive into the chapters here? So we're going to start with chapter 7, the Sorting Hat. My friend, we've made it. We're back. We are in to Hogwarts, and we're like officially in to Hogwarts.
We're officially in. I want to say something too as we get started. Now that we're here again, I'm wearing my professor's jacket. I've got my tie on. You've got yours on. We're about to get into the sorting. I want to say this though. I want you to pay attention, friends, as you're reading this along with us or as we discuss this. Some of the behaviors among the staff members here at Hogwarts, it's worse than what we thought. All right. And reading back through it, I kind of understand. Umbridge said things are worse at Hogwarts than the Ministry knew. Cornelius Fudge is going to want to know about these things. And let me tell you, from the very first book, I'm a couple chapters ahead. And I told Matt, I'm just kind of reading ahead, getting a refresher on all this stuff. And I'm like, holy smokes, how many staff's drinking, kissing, doing weird stuff. Just wait. There's more there, and I'm kind of shocked by it. But anyways, yes, we are here. We're ready to be sorted into our houses.
Let's go. Okay, so the Sorting Hat. Professor McGonagall tells the first years a bit about the school, and they are sorted into houses by the Sorting Hat. Then Dumbledore welcomes them. They have a feast and find their dormitory for their first night at Hogwarts. Now, I will say this chapter does go slightly different than the books.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In I mean, it's mostly sort of the same, but there's a few differences, and we will get into that here.
Matt, let me say this too. So thinking about this in terms of, an assessment for students that are coming in, it's nerve wracking. First of all, they weren't prepped for this. I mean, we know why, which is just you're going to put a hat on their head and we're going to be sorted into their house, but they all think there's a test coming up. So they're freaking out. They're nervous. I believe it was one of the Weasley brothers had said that there might be a troll wrestling match involved. Ron was like, God, I'm gonna kill those guys later. I'm gonna get on them, right? His brothers are just trying to get them all stirred up. So yeah, so they're not really sure what they're gonna have to do. And then Harry is sitting there thinking in this chapter, like, this is a bit much to be up here getting sorted in front of the whole school. And it made me think of the time when I tried out for Babe Ruth baseball and I had to go field this grounder. I mean, I fielded like tons of grounders in my life in Little League, no problem. Field it, make the throw to first base, no problem. But man, everybody's watching. You've got like 20 coaches in there. They're all watching. I mean, I can just imagine these students walking up to the stool to get sorted, and their knees are just shaking, like, like
Mm-hmm.
this is crazy. So it's a big deal. It's a big moment.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look here because I have it pulled up. I think they don't show it in the book, but like in the movie, it's really cool that the hat knows that Ron is a Weasley, and it's
Yeah,
in the movie it's a different dialogue, and he's like, "Oh, red hair, whatever. I know what to do with you, another Weasley Gryffindor." But
right.
it doesn't even show it in the book. Just Ron just kind of
Yeah,
gets put into Gryffindor.
yeah. It is cool. The
Good
sorting hat is.
change. Do you like that change?
I don't know. I get why, if you like, you
I
have to
do.
make
I think it's better.
sure. The hat's a little weird, right? The hat's an interesting thing. As far as creativity, in this book, in this first book, I mean, the hat is interesting. They're thinking they're gonna have to pull a rabbit out of this hat, and it's gonna sit there. It makes up its own song. It has all year to think about this, and it remembers all these different individuals. There's a memory to it, right? It knows the students and no, yeah. So
You can almost say that it's I mean, talk about some key moments in the series. I mean, this could be the whole thing.
this is it,
I mean, if
right?
this goes different,
Let me.
then the whole series could go different.
So okay, Dumbledore. So we're just gonna leave the sorting up to this hat,
Well, the wand chooses the wizard, the hat chooses the
the
house.
house. That's like crazy. So all of the founders said, you know what, we can't decide. Let's make. I mean, let's just bring
Are
this.
you
Let's
really
animate
able to
this.
forge your own destiny
Well,
in
here
this wizarding world?
that's I know it said later on, right, that Harry chooses his house. Well, then why the heck are we putting hats on, Matt? Why are we putting a hat on if I can just choose? I actually did see
Yeah,
a TikTok the other day where this guy was talking about people take the test and the sorting quiz on Wizarding World, and he was like, "I self-identify as a Hufflepuff," and it was freaking great.
that's ridiculous. That's great. So
Lord,
so the hat does have a song here. There's not a song in the book in the movie.
right?
Says, "Oh, you may not think I'm pretty, but don't judge on what you see. I'll eat myself if you can find a smarter hat than me. You can keep your bowlers black, your top hats sleek and tall, for I am the Hogwarts sorting hat, and I can cap them all. There's nothing hidden in your head the sorting hat can't see. So try me on, and I will tell you what you ought to be. You might belong in Gryffindor, where dwell the brave at heart. Their daring nerve and chivalry set Gryffindors apart. You might belong in Hufflepuff, where they are just and loyal. Those patient Hufflepuffs are true and unafraid of toil. Or yet in wise old Ravenclaw, if you've really if you've a really ready mind, excuse me, where those of wit and learning will always find their kind. Or perhaps in Slytherin, you'll make your real friends. Those cunning folk use any means to achieve their ends. So put me on, don't be afraid, and don't get in a flap. You're in safe hands, though I have none, for I'm a thinking cap. He really has to assure people that he's safe.
Yeah, he does, right? I mean, don't get in any of those folds. We're not sure
Yeah.
what's tucked away. I mean, Seriously, he's got swords and all sorts of stuff tucked away there. By the way, if you can think of a hat that's smarter than him, he'll eat himself. Hey, Dr. Fate, it's a helmet, but it's a pretty
That's
daggone smart helmet.
that is a
All
that
right.
is a pretty smart
So
helmet.
I'll throw that out there.
So we're gonna go. We move on a little bit here. Everyone bursts into applause once the hat has finished its song. It bowed to each of the 4 tables and then became quite still again. So we've just got to try on the hat, Ron whispered to Harry. He says, I'll kill Fred. He was going on about wrestling a troll,
Yeah.
which is great because it's just beginning to get some of the twins here, right? A little bit more of them. It's so great that we get to, because you don't really see them a lot until later. And so to just, you can do so much with just sort of one line and you're like, all right, twins, they're shenanigans. So it's just sort of one line there, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
So the hat seems to be asking rather a lot. Harry didn't feel brave or quick-witted or any of it at the moment. If only the hat had mentioned a house for people who felt a bit queasy, then that would have been the one for him. That sounds an awful lot like Hufflepuff to me, but maybe I'm just
Yeah, I don't know. You might be right. Right? I mean, that's the left. I mean, like
Is it the leftover house?
it's the leftover house. I mean, maybe it's where he belonged.
Hey, some people are proud to be in Hufflepuff.
I am proud. I am freaking,
Huffle proud.
Cedric. Huffle proud. Let's go. There's actually a lot of Hufflepuffs listed there. Susan Bones, right? You've got what's his name? Finch Fletchley is there. Justin Finch Fletchley. What a name.
Hannah. Right here. The first person we see is sorted into Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
That's the first house.
Yeah. Which is really cool. I love looking through these, Terry Boot. You've got Mandy Brocklehurst, Millicent Bulstrode, just names that are just thrown out here that are pretty cool.
Yeah, perhaps it was Harry's imagination after all he'd heard about Slytherin, but he thought they looked like an unpleasant lot. See, he's already thinking things because Hagrid, you don't want to get put into Slytherin.
Yeah, come on. I mean, what if he would have, right? Like,
right.
So what would Hagrid say in that situation? Well, are you going to talk to Harry anymore now? I mean,
probably would have been better. Probably would have been better had he been in there for Hagrid. Would have had maybe less trouble along the way.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's a great. You actually posed to me before we started a what if, and what if Harry was?
What house was Hagrid in? Do we know when he was in
Gryffindor? I believe.
He was a Gryffindor, was he?
Yeah.
So then, we keep going on here. Seamus Finnegan, right? So then the sandy-haired boy sat next to Harry in the line, sat on the stool for almost a whole minute before the hat declared him a Gryffindor. Granger, Hermione. Hermione almost ran to the stool and jammed the hat eagerly on her head. Gryffindor, shouted the hat. Ron groaned. A horrible thought struck Harry, as horrible thoughts always do when you're very nervous. What if he wasn't chosen at all? What if he just sat there with the hat over his eyes for ages until McGonagall jerks it off his head and said there had obviously been a mistake and he'd better get back on the train.
Yeah.
When Neville Longbottom, the boy who kept losing his toad, was called, he fell over on his way to the stool. The hat took a long time and decided with Neville. When it finally shouted Gryffindor, Neville ran off while still wearing the hat and had to jog back to give it back. Malfoy swaggered forward when his name was called, and he got his wish at once. The hat barely touched his head when it screamed Slytherin.
Yeah.
Malfoy's friends, Crabbe and Goyle, we know they're going to go as well. Harry Potter. The last thing Harry saw before the hat dropped over his eyes was a half, that was the half full of people croning to get a good look at him. Next second, he was looking at the back inside of the hat. A small voice said in his ear, difficult, very difficult. Plenty of courage. Not a bad mind either. There's talent. Oh my goodness, yes. And a nice thirst to prove yourself. Now that's interesting. So where shall I put you? Harry, we know, begins to start saying, not Slytherin. You could be great, It's all here in your head, and Slytherin will help you on your way to greatness. No doubt about that. No, well, if you're sure, better be Gryffindor.
Matt, I don't know. As I'm thinking about the Sorting Hat, I'm just sitting here going, like, if you're picking your fantasy team, right, and you see the incoming, first years, I don't know, man.
Mhm.
If you're Flitwick or McGonagall, like, did you slip a few? Did you slip something to the Sorting Hat? You know what I mean? I don't know what you would pay this, or if it's galleons or not, or what you would pay the Sorting Hat, but was there some manipulation going on? Like, that's crazy. This hat is putting these individuals, and again, McGonagall says, right, hopefully they all can contribute to their houses and whatnot, but everyone was sitting there thinking, like, who's going to get Harry Potter? Which
Right.
house gets Harry Potter? Could you imagine if Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw would have got Harry Potter? Just think for a quick second how different that all would have been. It's just wild, man.
Yeah. So then we get to Ron's part, which again I think is way better in the movie. Then it was Ron's turn. He was pale green by now. Harry crossed his fingers under the table, and a second later, the house shouts Gryffindor.
Yeah. Yeah,
Better
good.
in the movie. This is one of those things where some people say, "Oh, it's not like it's not as good as the books."
Right.
I don't know. I think the movie, in some scenarios, might be better.
Well, yeah, for sure. I
It's
think
a better scene.
there's always a chance to kind of improve upon, or even, for the author sometimes to come in and say, I had a couple ideas in my mind about how I wanted to do something. And it's always good to see something else come out that was equally as good. But you got to make, when you write something or you shoot a film, you got to decide. You could have a couple of different variations of it, but you got to pick one. So it's nice.
Right.
Nice when you can come in and pick a different option.
Yeah. I know it's like less than a minute of footage, but I think it's better.
No, I'm with you. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, I got to ask you a question here. Now, after all this goes down,
Mhm.
yeah, everybody's greeting all of them. They go, Harry's they're all sorted. Everything's good. Albus Dumbledore got to his feet. He was beaming at the students, his arms opened wide, as if nothing could have pleased him more than to see all of them there. Welcome, he said. Welcome to a new year at Hogwarts. Before we begin our banquet, I would like to say a few words, and here they are. Nitwit, Blubber, Oddment, Tweak. Thank you. Now I go back. I'm just going to keep pushing this narrative here a little bit, because to me, maybe the ministry should be looking. Maybe there should be some oversight here. Because what's he saying? What's he what is dumb? What's he saying here, man? I mean, I'm sorry. I don't. Why say those words, Matt? Just to be
I
funny?
don't
Is
know.
it just to be funny?
Maybe.
Just to be silly with the kids, which I like, actually, if that's the case, because, but what do they mean? I don't know. I don't know if, hey, send us an now if you guys know. I don't know if there was ever anything done on that. Like, if anybody knows if there's something later in the series, maybe about that. But I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Is he mad?
Well, I don't know. They sit down and there's a bunch of food. It all just appears right before them. The Dursleys have never starved, right? But now Harry can eat as much as he wants. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
This does look good.
Oh, hold on. Time out. I hate to be the critical one in all of this, but I'm about to bring up another one here too. So I brought up Dumbledore. I brought up the Sorting Hat. There are we don't know it at this time, but there are beverages being passed around at the high table there among the teachers. Okay. But we do know. So okay.
Are they just getting drunk up there?
They probably are, and we'll get to that around Christmas time. But Matt, who's regulating the school lunches? These kids can eat whatever they want. I mean, these meals are so insane. It's like.
Well, let me tell you.
Where's Michelle Obama?
I'm plowing through the books. All right, I'm watching all the movies, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see on this reread, because it's been like, I don't know. I think like 9 years since I've read the books. Obviously just watched the movies a bunch, but in Goblet of Fire, when Durmstrang and the other school shows up, they're doing like this super entrance where they're doing backflips and stuff like that. And I don't see one single physical education class going on at Hogwarts.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't part of dueling? Shouldn't part of dueling be like, you need to be fit?
I would imagine that also when you're riding your broom, you'd want some core strength, right? Some core strength, some sort of like balance. I don't know, something. Just throw them on the broom. We'll see how they do. Up. Here we go. That happens.
Now, where does this food come from?
Yeah, from the kitchen.
Is it
Yeah,
Acioed? So somebody cooks it.
right.
So
House
where
elf.
do they buy? Where are there farmers? Herbology. You just
Yeah, it is.
they could end world hunger. No,
Wow.
we don't want them to fix them problems themselves.
Right. Well, again, now it's served magically. They have to actually prepare it, I believe. I mean, the food itself, they have to, you know, they've got to get their livestock, they got to get their fruits and their veggies in. They got to do all that. They can make it magically and then present it magically, but yeah. So but still to me, it just seems like if you wanted to, you could just pick desserts, it's just I don't know, Matt.
You
I don't
could.
know. Next up, though, so as I'm going along here, sorry again to be so
Nearly
critical.
headless Nick.
We have got a nearly headless man running around
All
in
right,
here.
we're getting a
All right,
little
sorry.
ridiculous.
All right, sorry.
Yeah,
But
nearly
he's pretty
headless. He's
cool.
funny. He's funny.
He
He's
is
pretty
funny.
cool. John Cleese plays him in the in the show. Who's legendary actor. He's great.
He's a
Which is
criminal.
funny. Who is John Cleese?
No, nearly headless Nick.
Well, yes, and
So.
I think it's fun. It's just some great. He's a great sort of world building character. He sticks around throughout the whole thing.
Well,
We see
actually,
him time and time and time again. He just
yeah,
all he wants to do is participate.
he does. He
But
does.
they won't let him.
One thing that is cool, because I've been reading ahead, and I've even been, I was back probably 6 months ago. I was actually reading through books 2 and 3, and the ghost. It's crazy in the books. They're just always randomly encountering a ghost along the way, right? The Bloody Baron is running around, Peeves is running around, all of it. It's pretty cool. It's just another obstacle they have to kind of maneuver. Fat Friar is there talking to the students. Hope you're in Hufflepuff, wishing them well. Cool stuff. So they are actually cool. I like the ghost a lot. So
okay. Let's move on over. We get a little bit of talk here where he's talking to Seamus, like I'm half and half. My dad's a muggle.
My mom was a witch.
Excuse me.
Wow, we're both. I mean, what's up with us today?
Oh, I don't know, man. I got my
Sneezing.
COVID shot last week. Let me tell you, my third one. Whew,
Yeah.
that hit hard. I could use some Madame Palfrey's,
something. Yeah,
something.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. Right. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Again, just sort of same little thing here, getting just a little bit of like building here, building up the Hogwarts and everything we're gonna see. We talk a little about the House Championship. Gryffindors have never gone so long without winning it. Slytherin's got it the last 6 years in a row. I mean, somebody's doing something right.
Well, yeah. I mean, there you go.
I mean, shout out to Snape. I mean, Snape's the champion. I mean, he's like the. It sounds to me like Snape's like the Bill Belichick, the Phil Jackson of the Hogwarts House Cup.
Yeah. I mean, again,
he's like the Nick Saban. It sounds like it's Alabama over there. Yeah. If you want to be a champion, you better just go to Slytherin.
Right. So give Snape some credit. Right. Give the Slytherin some credit. They score their points. By whatever means it takes. They're making house points. They're winning.
Yeah.
They're winners.
It's the House of Champions.
Yeah. So Matt's got to, he's got to.
I wish there was a list somewhere to show you who has the most house championships.
Mm.
Yeah,
you mean like
like
all
it's
time
Griffin.
there?
It sounds like it's like Slytherin and Gryffindor. There's
Right.
not really, you don't really hear too much. Some of the years though, some of the other houses do win. Now in year 4, they don't have a house championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But remember one of the years, I think year 5, Gryffindor definitely doesn't win. Not that I know that we know who wins.
Let me see here real quick because we can actually pull this up. House Cup. The winners. Wow, they have a list. Yeah, so you've got Gryffindor, and then
Gryffindor wins it every. So it seems like Gryffindor wins it every year that Harry's there.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. Or yeah.
See, because so Gryffindor wins it the first 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then 1990. So then year 4 would be the Goblet of Fire, and they specifically don't have one that year. Well,
Right.
I can't remember. I see. That's the
Is
books. I
unknown.
gotta. In the
Yeah.
movie, they say they're not having a house cup. They say it.
Right.
And then year 5 is the Umbridge year, and I don't, who knows? All I know is Gryffindor gets a lot of points deducted in that year.
Yeah, House Cup was thrown into disarray in '96 following the formation of the Inquisitorial Squad.
Right.
So, yeah.
Then it says year 6 would be Half-Blood Prince, and then yeah, I don't even know that they have one. Year 7, Harry's not there because he's a dropout.
Wait, Jesus. Hey, man. Wow. He had to, all right?
I know.
God dang
I
it.
know. Just proves
No.
sometimes you don't need to go to college or finish high school to be successful.
Right.
Harry, LeBron James didn't go to college. Harry Potter didn't even finish high school. So
Right.
you can still be great.
You still can be. That's right.
He's an inspiration
He's
to
an
us all.
inspiration. Doggone it. Don't tell that to my kids. That's cool. Jeez. Yeah. Crazy. The House Cup, it does say that only in the books that Gryffindor and Slytherin are mentioned as winning it, although it's believed, right, that Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw at
Right.
some point in the history have won it.
Right. And then we do know that Slytherin won it 6 years in a row. So the year before, so 1984 to 1985, somebody other than Slytherin won it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, just so we're on the record here, quiz championship for this holiday season, Ravenclaw is winning right now. So
well, we're gonna have to pull some Slytherins together to stop that. So okay. So let's dive back in here.
the song in this, right? So
There is there is a closing song. I was trying to see if there's anything super important. We do hear our first mention of Quidditch, right? Quidditch trials. They're kind of saying some things, right? Going over the rules, and then like the big one is that hey, you can't go into the woods. Oh, this is odd because he usually gives us a reason why we're not allowed to. The forest is full of dangerous beasts, so get that, which is going to come back.
Right.
So then here we go. The song Hogwarts, Hogwarts, Hoggy, Warty, Hogwarts. Teach us something, please, whether we be old and bald or young with scabby knees. Our heads could do with filling with some interesting stuff. For now they're bare and full of air, dead flies and bits of fluff. So teach us things worth knowing. Bring back what we've forgot. Just do your best. We'll do the rest and learn until our brains all rot.
Wow.
Sounds like there's not a lot of good teaching going on there.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, wait till a couple chapters later when we figure out what the teachers are doing. My God. Yeah, everyone picks their favorite tune though, right? So I think like the Weasleys, they're the ones like who have taken this to a new extreme, right? And I can imagine every year that they're just kind of dragging like Hogwarts, right? And they just like they just take their time on the Hogwarts, Hoggy, Warty, Hogwarts, and they just mess around with the tune a little bit. And I think it's kind of cool. And then at the end, Dumbledore is sort of like conducting,
and they all finish at different times. It says,
yeah, exactly, different times, right? Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, we meet Peeves, who is not in the movies, but Peeves is a book favorite, right? He's a poltergeist, not a ghost.
Right.
There's a difference.
Yeah, what is the difference?
You've seen enough scary movies to know the difference, right?
Well, let me look at it here. Poltergeist definition here. I just want to.
Well, I think the movie Poltergeist is scarier than the movie Ghost. Because the movie Ghost is like a romantic thing, right? It's like they're like spinning clay pots and stuff. I don't know. It's like a love thing. So I would have to say, just based off that knowledge alone, I would have to say that poltergeists are more scary than ghosts.
I think the thing is that a poltergeist can interact physically and can actually touch things and can pinch, and
you're supposed to be our beyond.
I'm pretty sure
the end of the paranormal.
I'm pretty sure
here.
That
I want to believe.
I know you do. I know. Do you believe in ghosts? I do, by the way. I actually do.
I ain't afraid of no ghost. I mean, let me tell you this. There's no song that says I ain't afraid of no poltergeist. But there is a song that says I ain't afraid of no ghost. So You tell me, what's more
Well,
scary?
I'll tell you right now, the Poltergeist is interesting because yeah, that movie is crazy. And then I think it does interact with the real world, and the ghosts can't do that as much. They just kind of haunt and are spooky and silhouettes and things like that. But the
Right.
Poltergeist can, I
Here we
think.
go. Here's the official definition as provided by Wikipedia. So it's
Oh
true.
god. Okay.
In ghost lore, which sounds like something we need to get into, poltergeist is German for
German.
loud ghost.
Yeah.
It is a type of ghost or spirit that is responsible for physical disturbances such as loud noises and objects being moved or destroyed. Most claims about a fictional description of poltergeist show them as capable of pinching, biting, hitting, and tripping people. They are also depicted as capable of the movement or levitation of objects as furniture, noises, stuff like that. So that's, I think, really a ghost is just more sort of a spirit that comes out,
Matt.
but they can't, as you said, they can't necessarily interact.
Right, Matt. I feel like I've let this podcast down. I need to. I have a German specialist, and I should have been all over this. So I'm gonna have to call her up. I'm gonna have to get Lottie in here to talk about the Geist. All right, the
Right.
poltergeist, because that's pretty cool. That's yeah, define like loud knocking. And then yeah, as you said, interacting with things, knocking things over, which means it can physically push stuff around. So yeah, that's why Peeves is so troublesome and he causes Filch so many problems, right? Filch has to go around and clean up all the time and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we want to watch out for them. We go to the staircase, it's rotating around, and then we run into Harry. Perhaps Harry had eaten a bit too much because he was having a very strange dream. He was wearing Professor Quirrell's turban, which kept talking to him, telling him he must transfer to Slytherin at once because it's his destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Harry told the turban he didn't want to be in Slytherin. It got heavier and heavier. He tries to pull it off. It tightens painfully. Then there was Malfoy laughing at him as he struggles with it. Then Malfoy turned into a hooked-nosed teacher, Snape, whose laugh became high and cold. There was a burst of green light, and Harry woke, sweating and shaking. He rolls over, falls asleep again, and he woke the next day. He didn't remember the dream he had at all.
Yeah. Harry and his dreams. Interesting to follow those. Real quick bit of trivia. That was it for that chapter, right? As we
Yes.
wrap up the chapter. So the password as they go into the common room, Caput Draconis stands for, by the way, Dragon's Head or Head
Wow.
of the Dragon. Friends, just wanted you to know that. Thought it was kind of interesting. So you never know. Might be on the quiz next week. Maybe I'm an insider.
There we go. Okay, let's move over to chapter 8, the Potions Master. Harry is pointed out and stared at by everyone in the school as he starts his first day of classes and meets his teachers, visits Hagrid, and learns about the Gringotts break-in.
Now I thought it was supposed to be like the most secure place.
Well,
Who's
I think
breaking in there?
Hogwarts might be the most secure place.
Okay. All right. But someone broke in. Yeah, stole something. And Potions Master, by the way, Snape's good. You got to give him credit. Okay. He's a good, now I'm not saying he's a good teacher. He's a good Potions Master.
Whoa.
Man.
Let's take that back.
Whoa. The stuff he says, the way he starts this lesson.
How so? Please explain to me how this is.
Oh my god! Oh my god, Matt!
Do you want your kids to learn, or do you want? I mean,
well, yeah, the methods at in this class are very interesting. It is he uses Harry as this example, right? He says, just because you're famous doesn't mean you're good at potions.
Is that correct? Is that a correct statement?
That is.
Is it or is it not a correct statement? That yes, you can be famous and also not good at potions.
That is true. That is true. He's teaching them up. He is teaching them up. My God.
Here we go.
Revolutionized potions teaching.
Here we go. So there's 142 staircases at Hogwarts. They're wide, they're sweeping, narrow ones, rickety ones. And it's hard, man. You got to run around. You don't know where they're at, which way to go. There's a ghost. Harry is, he's kind of freaking out, man. Then you have to worry about Peeves. You have to worry about Filch.
Mrs.
But
Norris.
Mrs. Norris, the one she ended up getting there, Harry quickly found out that waving your wand is saying a few funny words. There's a lot more to it than that.
Mm-hmm.
They have to study the night skies through telescopes every Wednesday at midnight. It's kind of cool. This is what I love. This is one of the reasons I love Prisoners of Azkaban, is because we get a lot more of this sort of like what's the day-to-day at Hogwarts.
Right. Which is why people like that so much. I'm totally with you on that, because the paragraphs that stood out to me for this were simply the ones where they talk about herbology, right? 3 times a week, we went out to the greenhouses behind the castle to study herbology with a dumpy little witch called Professor Sprout. And Professor Binns is in here talking about history.
And it's a ghost.
Yeah, right. I mean, one day he just sort of, woke. He was dead. He had unfinished business.
He kept teaching.
Yeah, he had teaching to do. So
did not leave his post.
He did not. He is there, which is kind of cool, actually. You think, like, you have a ghost as a history teacher. That's kind of cool. Like, that's creative.
That sounds like I'll give Dumbledore some credit, some points there, because that sounds like you're saving on staff funding.
Right.
That's a great way to save some money.
Right. That's when you go and you post like the levies out there among the wizarding community. That's one of his pitches, right? We've kept Professor Binns is on for another year.
We're really saving on some, on some salaries here.
Gosh, that is wild. I never would have thought about that.
So here we go, right? We learned about Flitwick, right? McGonagall, who's Ez's favorite. Yeah. But let's go ahead here. The class everyone had been really looking forward to, Defense Against the Dark Arts, but Quirrell's lessons turned out to be a bit of a joke. I mean, even Harry, who knows nothing about magic and is surprised at every turn, is like, guess what? It's kind of a joke.
Yeah, kind of a joke. And he's selling this whole idea that he's afraid of vampires. Maybe it smells of garlic in there. He's stuttering. Something has happened that's really caused him to be fearful of dark arts or dark creatures, right, or whatever. But yeah, it's crazy. That's the class you're looking forward to, and it's a joke. So
yeah. Who is the best dark arts teacher they have? What would you say is the most they actually learn in Defense Against the Dark Arts at any point? And who is the best teacher?
I think everyone's probably shouting at us right now. It's probably Lupin. I think they'd probably say.
Right.
Probably say Lupin.
I don't know, though. I think I could honestly make a case for fake Mad-Eye Moody. Barty Crouch Jr. might actually be the best. He teaches them day one, like Cruciatus, Avada Kedavra. Who knows what else he actually taught them that year?
But it seems like pretty. Like
I think
he really
calling. Maybe he's been a pretty good Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Get reformed.
My God.
Get reformed, and
that is funny. He is a really good. He does play that role really well, and it is interesting. I mean, my favorite Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher is Lockhart. Okay.
Oh,
my guy right there. Is he dueling? Order of Merlin.
Who is the worst? Umbridge? God.
Umbridge, yeah.
Is Umbridge worse than Quirrell? Quirrell seems. They say Quirrell's a joke. Umbridge, at least, it's a terrible way of doing it, and she's awful. But she is technically teaching people about stuff,
right? Even if it's just a book, right? It's the different approaches. Lupin was all the hands-on approach. Technically,
Snape is a Defense Against Dark. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's pretty good. I guess if you think
the problem is we don't really see what all he teaches them that very much of in that book.
Right.
So it's hard to sort of really pinpoint how much.
Yeah.
Lockhart, to Lockhart's credit, he did. Hey, here we go. We're going to put you guys in live action, live firing right here.
Right. Cornish Pixies. Get him out.
Dueling.
He's dueling. Yeah. Well, by the way, I know we're not there yet.
So Lupin is probably, I don't know. Again, Barty Crouch Jr.
might have been best. Matt, here's the thing.
might be the best. I mean, we know he's a villain, but that
Yeah,
doesn't
and
mean that he wasn't. That we
look,
I mean, he might be the best.
well, I'll tell who took the most sick time as a defense against the dark arts teacher? Lupin.
Lupin.
So I don't know if you can say that he. I mean, again, Snape's got to fill in for him. The curriculum seemed to be all over the place. Matter of fact, I don't know if there was a scope and sequence. So
Right.
although he was fun, and
It'd be so interesting because we don't really get that much of what they actually learn in Defense Against the Dark Arts in year one. Because theoretically, in a way, Voldemort's kind of teaching them.
in year one, yeah. Oh my god.
You know, I really don't think about that. I mean, what is it? Is like, do all the villains just teach Defense Against the Dark Arts except for Lupin? I mean, but you kind of think towards the end, Lupin might be a villain. Twist little ending there.
Who? Lupin?
Yeah, when you towards the end, you think there for a brief minute he is a villain.
Oh,
You think
right,
he's
right,
worth
yeah.
it. You think he's working with,
Yeah.
Sirius, who's supposed to be a villain. Yeah, and then you find out he's good. So
Right.
and then the next year, you have a guy who you think is good, and you find out he's bad.
Right. I'm just looking real quick on Remus Lupin here, and what were his qualifications prior to becoming
Being a boss.
okay, being a boss during the first Wizarding World? That's what it is. That's literally what they. I mean, yeah, he was Order of the Phoenix. So, yep, don't ever question. Anyway, yeah, cool.
Okay. All right, so here we go. So we know they're going to have double potions with the Slytherins. Snape's head of Slytherin house. That's the way they always favor him. We'll see if it's true. They wish McGonagall would favor them, but she does not. Then they get a little message here from Hagrid, and Hagrid says, he gives Harry a letter. Hey, I know you got Friday afternoons off, so would you like to come have a cup of tea with me around 3? I want to hear back about your first week. Send an answer back with Hedwig. Right, so that's kind of cool. But then we'll move over here and we'll talk a little bit about potions, right? Because Snape didn't dislike Harry. He hated him. Potion lessons took place down in one of the dungeons. It was colder there than up in the main castle and would have been quite creepy enough without the pickled animals floating in glass jars all around the walls. Snape, like Flitwick, started each class by taking a roll call. And like Flitwick, he paused at Harry Potter's name. Yes, he said softly. Harry Potter, our new celebrity.
Yeah. He just doesn't. And the crazy thing is Harry's reading into all of his body language and just the glares, the stares, the tone of voice, all of it. Yeah, well, there. Matt's got, you guys got to check out the video version of the podcast. He's got a freaking Funko Pop Snape, cheesy cow. Matt is a Snape guy, and Snape is cool. And there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. And when you reread the series, you think about, like, at one point, I'm a few chapters ahead, and Harry's realizing that Snape seems to always be following him. Well, we know why. We now, when you read the whole thing, you know why, and you're like, okay,
he was
worried about him, and he was keeping
an
eye out.
Real serious question, because when the books were coming out, this is something now it's hard to, everyone kind of knows the answer now. But for those of you guys who were reading the books when they were coming out, every year it seemed like there was a legitimate debate and people didn't know. And you don't know until the end, is Snape a good guy or not? I mean, that was a thing.
Yeah. Well, and again, you have to understand that like the author does a really good job of actually doing that, right? Of actually making sure that there's not the whole bewitching the broom, right? And cursing the broom to do what it does during the Quidditch match. Like, Quirrell is mentioned, Hermione runs into him, knocks him over, and then quickly lights a fire under Snape. So you find out at the end that Snape saves him. And so people are like, well, there's your defense for Snape. But then how do you excuse his actions towards him in potions class or these other things, right? People are saying he's mean to him, he's this or whatever. It's all coming from the perspective of a student, right? From Harry's perspective and from other students. And he is a harsh teacher. Maybe he even does have some favoritism towards his house, probably because people like Hagrid are anti-Slytherin. You know what I mean?
Hey,
like,
Harry had an opportunity to be in Slytherin.
Yeah, but it seems to be kind of a thing where like the wordplay around Slytherin is typically negative in connotation. And it's like, okay, Snape that might take offense to that. That might be something that's
Right.
not. So maybe that's why he shows a bit more favoritism. And by the way, don't say McGonagall doesn't show favor. I mean, she freaking sends
She,
Harry Potter a broom,
which is illegal.
a Nimbus
It's
2000.
against the rules.
It's against the rules, and but yeah. By the way, like had to tell the other teachers, like, hey,
By the
I
way,
did,
I'm
yeah,
gonna cheat for Gryffindor here.
crazy. Oh my god. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm a Snape guy. So you are here to learn the subtle science of and exact art of potion making, he began. He spoke in barely more than a whisper, but they caught every word. Like Professor McGonagall, Snape had the gift of keeping a class silent without effort. As there is a little foolish wand waving here, many of you will hardly believe this is magic. I don't expect you will really understand the beauty of the softly simmering cauldron with its shimmering fumes, the delicate power of liquids that creep through human veins, bewitching the mind, ensnaring the senses. I can teach you how to how to bottle fame, brew glory, even stopper death.
yeah.
If you aren't as big a bunch of dunderheads as I usually have to teach. More silence followed. Harry and Ron exchanged looked with raised eyebrows. Then the next thing you know, Potter, Snape said suddenly, what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood? Powdered root of what to an infusion of what? Harry glanced at Ron, who looked as stumped as he was. Hermione's hand shoots in the air. I don't know, sir, said Harry. Snape's lips curled into a sneer. Fame clearly isn't everything. He ignores Hermione's hand. Let's try again, Potter. Where would you look if I told you to find me a Bezor? Hermione stretched her hands out again. Same thing. I don't know, sir. And then I accidentally clicked too far ahead. So, oh, here we go.
Matt, let me
Thought you
interject.
wouldn't open a book before coming.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. Thought you wouldn't open a book. Good point. Good point. Why didn't you? I mean, Hermione clearly did.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's I mean, and then the whole point is, why aren't you all right? Why aren't you right? Eventually, he gives them all the answers and says, why aren't you all writing this down? Take notes, etc. Here we go. It is cool that the potions mentioned come up later. The Bazaar comes up later. That's all really cool. Random thought, like, do you have to be magical to make a potion?
I
You
don't
know?
believe so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would say no.
I
I
don't
would
know.
imagine
If you
in some
have the
cases,
magical
yes, he says
materials or like the
he doesn't
magical
he
stuff.
doesn't say there is no wand waving. He says there is little wand waving.
Ah, there you go. You might actually have to use your wand to mix. There might be something that you have to do with it. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe you need a good wand stir or something. I don't know. But
Potions is hard. It's a hard class.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
And he's a potions master.
Yes, he is. Although there is one potions master
Let's go.
that's better. Okay. Just one.
Whoa. Is
I'm
he
sorry.
better?
He's
Is he
better. He's
better?
not a better teacher, but I think because again, maybe he is.
Is he a better
Maybe he is.
potions master?
Snape seemed to have rewrit the book on it, right? I mean, later on we find out he's rewritten the potions book, and when he teaches, he writes his instructions on like the board. Like they're there, they're not necessarily out of the book. Like you take hit notes from him, he's giving the lecture, maybe not going by that curriculum. Slughorn later will go by, he just feeds you the book and you're supposed to follow along. But really, if he himself followed it, he'd be making his own sort of adjustments. You know what I mean? It's the
Right. I mean,
yeah.
this is why I love Snape, is because one, he's incredibly great at potions, which seems to be one of the most tough classics. It even seems like the one that Hermione struggles at.
Sure.
So it seems pretty hard. Even
Right.
Slughorn has his like own group of like, hey, this is like the people who are good at potions, because it's hard. It's a hard thing
Yeah.
to do, and some people don't care about it. But the payoffs of the things you can do with it are incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
So Snape is already like a master at one level, and then he writes his own spells.
Writes his own spells, could be defense against the dark arts teacher. Literally, Dumbledore doesn't want him in that because it's, the temptations and the dark arts and all that kind of stuff. Too much temptation. So he does potions. But yeah, you're right. He's kind of
I'm still
he's
convinced, and there's no way you will ever unconvince me
yeah.
that without Horcruxes and all this stuff, I will go to the grave dying saying that Snape could take Voldemort, and I don't even think it's close. No questions.
Wow.
One on one,
Wow.
no Horcruxes, any of this other stuff. Just one on
Right.
one, one wand each. Boom.
He does feel like that person when you learn more about Snape, that when he was younger, he was picked on, he was bullied, he maybe was
Yes.
sort of like a Neville. Because when I think of Neville becoming a professor later on, I think of him like growing into his own, and you almost, as you learn stuff later that will help you, and you see the benefits that it can provide to you in a fight or in life or whatever, it sticks with you. The learning process is more, it's more real. It's more, I don't know, it just sticks. And I feel like Snape probably, as he gets older and was picked, like, I think he turns into kind of, a pretty epic wizard. Like, I think he could do some pretty epic stuff. So I'm with you on that. I actually think that he's extremely powerful and studied and dabbled and it did his thing and was fascinated by magic and wanted to grow and learn more. And then even as far as like defending himself against the dark arts or using the dark arts, I think he could do a bit of both. So
Yeah.
yeah, crazy.
Because when Snape walks in Prisoners of Azkaban, and Lupin is there, and Sirius Black is there, I think he's like, I can take everybody out.
Try
right
it.
now.
Try it.
Try it.
Right.
Try it.
Dare you.
I dare you.
Yeah.
I dare you. Yeah.
You're like, back in the day, you guys might have been able to. And I even feel from them a little bit sort of like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, yeah, we
The
we
problem
did
is
pick on you, but
the problem is we don't ever get to see. We don't ever get there's really only one time we get to see him sort of in that, right?
yeah.
Well, there's really two, and I can't even remember if it's in the books or not. In the movie, and when they're dueling, when Lockhart is dueling, Snape just blasts him. I mean, just blasts
Oh, yeah.
Lockhart. Yeah,
Right,
it's
right.
just I can't remember if that's in the book or not. So we're not there, and I haven't gotten there yet. But on the reread, but the only other time is when Harry tries to cast Sephram Sempra on him,
Mhm.
and can't use that on me.
Nothing.
We saw what it did to Malfoy. I'm almost killed him.
Right, right. Well, the other thing too is I will even in on Snape's defense, when McGonagall and he have their duel, I don't think Snape's heart's in it. Right? He's not really trying.
No,
I don't think
absolutely
he's
not.
really trying. And so although I think McGonagall could take him, I think
No.
I think she could.
I
I
know you
think
do, yeah.
I think it would be like an epic battle. It wouldn't be something that's over in minutes. It'd be a 3-day battle, bro. I mean, it'd be something like, maybe if Snape does win in the end, it's gonna take them a long time. It's gonna be like they're gonna duel for a while, right? I feel like it ends in the way, in this way in which he just it's over. He sees the tables. He sees things shifting. His role is over as Dumbledore's agent there. Now he has to go, and McGonagall is going to take over. I really kind of think that. I mean, even though McGonagall, Snape doesn't have to sell it because McGonagall is still that good that he's like,
Right.
oh shoot, you know what I mean? Like, they're just going at
We
it.
do also see Snape using wandless magic,
Yeah, yeah,
which we know is difficult. I mean, again, these are Hogwarts teachers, but it's like you do see him do a lot of things that everyone says these are really hard things to do. Like even for trained wizards. I mean, book one,
Matt's literally saying
book
like,
one. Hey, he's a potions
is
master.
right.
We see him use wandless magic. He writes his own spells. Harry casts his own spell on him. Block. Get that out of here.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
is he the most powerful?
He's going toe to toe with McGonagall. And again, like you said, I mean, we know that's hard. And it seems like,
Absolutely.
I mean, I think if he was gonna like really try and seal the deal, he probably could have.
Yeah, again, I think I think he has a lot of respect for Professor McGonagall.
Well, I don't think he clearly had no desire to kill her there,
No.
obviously, but
No. again, that's the whole point. Is he's in this role trying to play this double. He is in the most difficult spot. People don't give him enough credit for that.
He's
Like
really like a quadruple agent because
he's all over.
right.
Yeah.
Because it's like he was bad, went good. Now he's pretending to be bad, but guess what? He's not.
Right. Yeah. So that's a great.
So I love him.
That's a great question, guys. That's that we want. I guarantee you, we get some responses from that whole conversation because people are the whole Snape stuff still gets at people.
A lot of people don't like him just because he's a jerk to Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is unfair. I will 100% agree with that. That it is unfair to sort of, the sins of the father. Right. So, okay. So, we'll continue going on, right? Neville blows his pot up. They have to take him to the hospital wing. Yeah. Continuing on, we're going to go to Hagrid's house, right?
Yep.
We go there, back Fang, they let him in. There's one room. You get to see some of the room. Make yourselves at home. It's kind of cool. We're hanging out with Hagrid. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good name for a podcast. Hanging with Hagrid.
Hanging with Hagrid. Wow. That'll be it. Hey, we make that a segment, a little something extra. I like that. It's cool.
Yeah. Here we go, right? And so this is where we learn about the Gringotts break-in, right? Investigations continue to the break-in at Gringotts on 31st July, wildly believed to be the work of the Dark Wizards or Witches Unknown. Gringotts goblins today insisted nothing had been taken. The vault that was searched for had in fact already been emptied. But we're not telling you what was in there. So keep your noses out of it if you know what's good for you.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, yeah. Hagrid was in there earlier.
Yes.
Right. So remember when I first read this, I had to like reread it. I'm like, wait a second, was it Hagrid? Oh yeah, that's right. He was in there earlier. Yeah. So we learn about that, and it's interesting that this object, whatever it was that Hagrid takes now, someone broke in afterwards to try and get it. Harry is instantly thinking like, oh yeah, got to tell Ron about this, or that's interesting, in that it was so important that someone else came in there and tried to get it. And then Hagrid's been telling him about how secure Gringotts is, but no place safer except for Hogwarts. So had to go to that next level of security with Fluffy, who we'll get to later.
Yes. Okay. So after that, we're going to pretty much moving on to the next chapter, into the final chapter, which is the Midnight Duel, which is one of my favorite moments from this book, and as well. Well, actually, no, this isn't in the movie. Harry and Malfoy duel in the neck and at the beginning, sort of book 2. But yes, Gryffindor and Slytherin have flying lessons together. Neville injures himself on his broom, and Harry and Draco Malfoy fight it out on brooms over Neville's Remember-All, resulting in Harry being made Seeker of Gryffindor Quidditch team. Later, Draco challenges Harry to a wizard's duel, but instead of dueling, he tells Filch in hopes of Harry being caught and expelled. Harry and his friends evade Filch, and after encountering Fluffy, the three-headed dog, they are safely back in their dormitory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was cool. I mean, this was basically the first part is, as you said, a lot like the Remembrals there. Longbottom gets that, and he gets hurt, he gets injured. It is cool that Harry, we get the little sign when he's getting his broom. He says up, bam, it's instantly up in his hand. Hermione's having a bit of trouble. I love in the movie how they have Ron's like slap him in the face. That's hilarious.
That's great.
That's funny,
And Hermione, the way Hermione's saying up, like she's talking to a dog. Up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is awesome. So that's like the moments in the movie that still bring me joy to this day. Like I watch them and I grin. I grin because it's I don't know. It's just it's good. It's kids out there playing with the other two kids that laugh at Rupert when the broom hits him in the face, they're sitting there, they're really laughing. Something kind of happened and it just worked. And the editors were like, yeah, that makes sense. So works.
So here we go. So Harry had never believed he would meet a boy he hated more than Dudley, but that was before he met Draco Malfoy. Still, first year Gryffindors only had potions with the Slytherins, so they didn't have to put up with Malfoy much, or at least they didn't until they spotted a notice pinned up in the Gryffindor common room that made them all groan. Flying lessons would be starting on Thursday, and Gryffindor and Slytherin would be learning together. Typical, said Harry darkly. Just what I always wanted, to make a fool of myself on a broomstick in front of Malfoy. He had been looking forward to learning to fly more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So couple cool things happen here. Like once the Remembrall is taken from Longbottom and it's it's chucked, Harry gets to do something that's just natural. We talk like in sports or whether it's musical talents or singing or whatever. Some people it just kind of they have the ear for it, or they have it's not saying it's in your genes, but whatever it is. I don't know what it is. Some people just have that gift. And so riding a broom is his gift. He's never, I mean, obviously, right? He's a muggle and he just shows up here and this is like in his she's just good at it. He doesn't know what it is, but it's in his blood. It's his dad's played Quidditch and whatever it is about him, he's really good at it. And he goes and gets the Remembrall. McGonagall sees it. Never in Hogwarts has she seen anything like this. We think she's super mad, but she's super impressed that he went through this big dive, swoops up, catches the Remembrall, rolls off of his broom and comes up, boom, and he's got it there in his hand. So yeah, just cool little action scene for Harry. So
yeah, and we're gonna this is where we really begin Quidditch, which is gonna be something that we're gonna talk about in every book going forward. As question,
yeah,
would you be you played sports? Would you play Quidditch?
Heck yes, I'd play Quidditch. Although my whole thing, the one big thing I'd have to get over, I'm afraid of heights a little bit,
Right.
So I would now if I'm in a plane, I'm fine, right? No problem. If I'm on a step ladder, I'm talking just a step ladder up on a chair, changing a light bulb, like knee starts quivering a little bit, I might take a fall. So I'd have to get over that. And once I got the broom underneath me, it'd be great, it'd be fun, especially if you had a few, spells or whatever, just to kind of like cushion your fall or something. I'd be all right. I get the confidence to learn how to ride it. But with what position, I like it might be cool to be. I don't think I'd be a seeker. You know what I mean? I don't think I'd be a seeker,
Right.
but I think I could be a keeper. A keeper
Right.
would be pretty cool.
That's almost where I feel like I would play.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Chaser, I don't know. Possibly. I could do like a good offense. I do like
Right.
to go score and stuff. Yeah,
Could be
so
a
I don't know.
beater. Boom.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Uh,
Yeah,
Quidditch is kind of an interesting game. It feels I'd almost like in a way because they're wearing like soccer like clothing, but it's really
yeah,
nothing like soccer.
yeah. No, it's crazy. It's totally bonkers, but it does feel it has still that vibe.
In a way, I feel like it's I almost want to say hockey,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
just because like in soccer you can't just actually go bludgeon people, but in hockey
You
you're
can check them.
checking people,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So it is to me it feels more like a little more. I mean, obviously it's not like anything really, but maybe like water polo. If you want to like,
Yeah, yeah.
I guess want to think about it something like that because you have to,
It's
but
the seeker that's really interesting that can end the game. One person,
right.
like two people are playing a whole different game than the rest of the
Right.
group,
And technically you can win the game. Like
and
technically
not
you could
catch.
catch the snitch and lose the game.
Right. Yeah, which is crazy.
So you
It's
just
just a device
yeah.
in the game that ends the game and gives you a point value. So,
Yeah. If the rest of your team is not doing well enough, you could grab the snitch and I guess what would be the purpose? I guess really you're just trying to keep the other guy from catching it until your team can score enough points.
yeah, really, that's why those games they say can go on so long.
Right. I think they say there's one that lasts for like
Yeah,
months.
months or so. Yeah, yeah. So,
So
it's cool.
yeah. Okay. And let me see here. We talked we kind of went lengthy in the last chapter. So here we go. I guess the big one here, right, is that he's just the build for a seeker too, said Wood. Light, speedy. We'll have to get him a
Mhm.
decent broom, Professor. A Nimbus 2000 or a clean sweep 7, I'd say. I'll speak to Professor Dumbledore and see if we can bend the first year rules.
What?
Heaven knows we need a better team than last year. Flattened in that last match against Slytherin. I couldn't look at Snape in the face for weeks.
Yeah, wild.
You're then Yeah, and then this is really sort of the cool sort of heartwarming moment. Your father would have been proud. He was an excellent Quidditch player himself. And then so Harry goes and he looks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's getting all excited. We have Harry Potter. And and then boom, then it kind of shifts gears here. What is a wizard's duel?
Yeah. Right.
As yeah.
Right. And so it's this whole thing. Malfoy's pissed because he threw the Remembrall. It didn't go the
Right.
way he thought it was going to go. At every turn, Harry is kind of coming out on top of his insults, of all these different little bullying tactics. And so now he's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm going to set him up here. Right. I'm going to
Yeah.
challenge him
Yeah.
openly.
I'll take you on any time. I'll take you on any time on my own tonight if you want. Wizard's duel, wands only, no contact. What's the matter? That's his line, right? Like that's Malfoy's line.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what's the matter, Potter? Yeah, I never heard of a wizard's duel before. I suppose.
Right. Right. And Ron pipes right in there and he's got his back and he's just like, absolutely, we'll be there. His second. And it's cool. Ron knows he can't
Yeah.
lose face right now. We've been challenged.
Right. It's just one of my favorite parts of the book. And this is something I wish was in the movie. What's a wizard's duel? Said Harry. And what do you mean by a second? Well, a second's there to take over if you die.
Yeah. Yeah.
But people only die in proper duels, with real wizards. The most Malfoy, the most you and Malfoy be able to do is send sparks at each other. Neither of you knows enough magic to do any real damage. I bet he expected you to refuse anyway. And what if I wave my wand and nothing happens? Throw it away and punch him on the nose, Ron suggested, which is interesting because there's really not a whole lot of physical violence in the Harry Potter series, to be entirely honest. There's almost like barely any because they're obviously dealing with wizards, except for this line here, punch him in the nose, which Hermione does later and is great. And I think it's like everyone's favorite part of the entire series.
Right. Yeah. There's a few. Yeah, exactly.
There's some foreshadowing here.
Sure. And when they're younger, right, there is a few of these kind of, they can't really do magic or spells and they don't really know them very well. So as they learn more, they use them more. But early on, they're definitely resorting more to the physical violence. There's a part later where, like, during the Quidditch match, I think Ron jumps Malfoy or something. Like they just get into it, and Harry catches the snitch against Hufflepuff, and but I mean, right, this is a situation where, well, just go beat him up now. I mean, Malfoy does say no physical contact. That's what he says. But
Yes.
Ron is willing to break that rule. Like, we're getting into a fight. So
yeah. So ultimately, we know we're running around. We're gonna try to go sneak out. They have to try and sneak out. Keep your voice down. They run into Neville, right?
yeah, they're being told not to go. Hermione even says, right, like, this is don't do it. You're gonna lose his points, and they're all kind of staying up to, like, stop them.
Yeah. Right. Run, I told you, Hermione gasped, clutching the stitch in her chest. I told you. We've got to get back to Gryffindor Tower, said Ron, quickly as possible. Malfoy tricked you, Hermione says to Harry. You realize that, don't you? He was never going to meet you. Filch knew someone was going to meet in the trophy room. Malfoy must have tipped him off. Let's go. They end up running into Peeves. Peeves freaks out. Students out of bed, ducking under Peeves. They run for their lives. They end up going to a door, right? We're done for. This is it. They could hear footsteps. Filch running as fast as he could towards Peeves. Hermione snarls. She grabs Harry's wand. Aloha Mora. They end up going in, right? Any other thing here is, I think we'll be okay. Get off Neville, right? For Neville had been tugging at the sleeve of Harry's bathrobe for the last minute. Harry turns around and saw what thought he walked into a nightmare. They weren't in a room. As he had supposed, they were in a corridor, the forbidden corridor on the 3rd floor, and now they knew why it was forbidden.
Yeah, scary place. I mean, so they get away from Peeves and Mrs. Norris and everything, and Aloha More the door. Pretty cool from Hermione coming in clutch. They get in there, and this is where we run into Fluffy, man. This is our 3-headed dog. So just wow. That's why it was forbidden. Shouldn't be up there. Wasn't always. And they said earlier on, right? Dumbledore normally tells us why we can't go somewhere, but this is a big secret inside the school right now. And no one seems to be on it except for Harry, because he happened to be at the Gringotts vault, and he's going to figure out who stole what, how Hagrid's involved, the whole thing. So this is the start. This is the start to all of their kind of curiosities as to what is the dog guarding, right? Hermione has that line where it's like, you didn't see what it was standing on. It was guarding later on. So we'll get into that, but cool.
Well, yeah. And that's it. That is it for us for this week. We'll come back with an extended edition. I don't know. What should we hammer out in our extended edition?
Man, I don't know. We'll think of something, because if it's up to, we might not want me to pick, because I've been awful critical of the staff here recently and Hogwarts. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to think of something. We'll make sure it's nice and positive for you guys, or maybe it will be critical. You're gonna have to go there and just kind of find out, friends.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, guys. Well, with that, anyway, guys, we always want to say thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Really enjoying this journey as we get going here. And before we hit our normal outro, just want to say really quick, be sure to, check out our Patreon. We do have extended content over there and on Apple Premium, which is where you can find those extended editions. But we also do have, I think we already have one person signed up, and we have a handful more through some of our other podcasts. We're gonna be doing like a Zoom hangout, probably post Christmas. And then you can come on the show. We can talk Harry Potter, the whole deal. So be sure to go check that out. So with that, guys, we want to thank you for using the flu to hang out with us. In our next episode, we will be discussing the Sorcerer Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, for those of you over there in Europe, part 4, chapters 10 through 12.
Absolutely. If you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write that review over on Apple Podcasts. It's a huge help to us here at the Elder Wand. Comment or send us that out at elderwandpod@gmail.com.
We will see you soon, and remember to have your wands at